This content is the creative work of Channels Without Borders, all rights reserved 2025. Visit channelswithoutborders.com. Feel free to share this with friends. More information and links are in the description.
So the ego mind has its own definition of perfection, and it only occasionally accidentally bumps up against the perfection that is. Part of that picture of perfection often is that the ego mind fully understands what's going on, but the ego mind never understands what's going on. It can't because it's insane. It thinks that it's real, and it thinks that you're separate from the one, and it thinks it has a mind of its own that should be listened to. Einstein once said, "The mind that created the problem is incapable of creating a solution." You can rest easily with not understanding. Understanding is the function of the ego mind. Knowing is the function of spirit. So when you know, it's beyond understanding. There's no explaining why you know or what you know, you just know. There is certainty. That is why when you follow the will of God, there's no choice, you just know. If you think there's choice, then you're an ego mind trying to figure it out. And as I like to say, good luck with that, because it doesn't matter what you choose. And talk more about these experiences of noticing, being what you think of as you, but noticing what kind of experiences. And so you find that the world doesn't disappear if you wait and don't make a decision. What is important? If there is fear in the now, then that's what's in the now. That is the gift. But it's not something to be overcome.
Coming up, distrust, sometimes it's painful, and I can feel it's so hard not to project it. I can see when I project, it's like abandon myself. Even though I see all this, it's really hard to let it go. There is some ego voice that is so angry or very loud. It's really a roller coaster. And it's another thing also that's very important. That's about my karmic 8, what enormous ego power it has. How my impulse is really driven by this controlling bitch. That is also an important insight.
The place that we want to come back to is this place where there is no you. If there is no you, then there are no stories. Then there is no karmic 8. That's a story. You can deal with all the stories. You found in another discipline that you could deal with your feelings and deal with your feelings, and the bucket is bottomless. You never reach the end of it. There's always another feeling. There's always something else. If there's fear, it works better to accept it than to resist it. But who's having this fear? As long as you believe that there is a you who has fear, you will have fear. But there is no you having this fear. That is the illusion. So you look and notice that there is something, noticing the story, whatever it might be. That is not the story. It's simply noticing the story. No different than if you're watching a film on the television. You're noticing that story, but you're not the story. So the question continually is, who is noticing this? And where is this noticer? If you keep looking at that and looking at that, if you think you found the noticer, who is noticing the noticer that you have found? There's a step back and a step back. But there's no forwards and backwards, so we're just saying that in a metaphorical sense, that there's a step back until there is simply noticing. No noticer, just noticing.
What does it mean? The difference?
When you're watching a film, say on the television, you are noticing. First of all, you're noticing it's all projected on the screen. It's not real. It's not happening in your living room. You're simply noticing a projection on the screen. When there's a character on the screen, you're noticing the character, but you're not saying that's me. But in the screen that you call your life, you are pretending that the character that you call you on the screen is real. But it's not. It's an actor that you're watching. You can practice when you're watching the television screen and notice where you project yourself into any of the characters, either through thinking, oh, they're a good character, or oh, they're a bad character, or oh, they shouldn't do that, or what are they thinking, or so on. Notice that there's projection going on. It's not real. You turn it off and everything's gone. Nothing's there. Or you can turn it back on and watch the same episode over and over and over. Does it change? It's just a projection on the screen. So you can practice with that and notice where you are giving reality to what is on the screen.
Now, when I have experienced so much physical pain, it feels so real because you can't get away from it. Or you can take a painkiller, but then everything is gone.
Now you're projecting on your screen. Is there pain present in the now?
That is a memory I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm talking about. A memory is not the now. It's not real. It's not happening.
I couldn't handle that in that way when I was there. And that's why I bring it up to get some guidance around it.
In the now, there may be an experience, and your mind might label that experience pain. When it labels pain and names it, then it moves out of the now and allows all the stories of pain that the mind is holding on to be experienced in the now. Not simply what is in the now, but the whole idea of pain and everything around it. For example, a thought may come in, what if the pain keeps getting worse and worse? What if it gets to a point I absolutely cannot stand it? What if it never stops? What is the meaning of this? Is this a punishment for me? What have I done? What's the lesson I'm supposed to learn? What's the message? Spirit, tell me, what's the message? Why am I having this pain? So the mind goes into all of this craziness that has nothing to do with the now. It's going off in all of these directions. Instead of simply noticing the sensation, which is not pain. Pain is a word. You don't experience a word. So you experience something in the body. So you go into it and you just experience nothing but that. Let the mind go. Doesn't matter what it's about, where it came from, why it's there, how long. It's just what is here right now. And so you say, thank you, Spirit. This is what is here right now. And you experience it. And if the mind goes a little bit nuts and it's more than you can tolerate, then take a painkiller. There's no right or wrong about it. And then the next time the sensation comes, it's a new experience. It's a new now. But you're with the feeling, not with the thought about the feeling, not with the label of the feeling, but just the feeling. I want you to notice the resistance you have to simply letting it be there.
Yeah, I see that.
And so, for example, you project that.
Yeah, I have noticed that. And it's one thing to notice it, but it's not so easy to stop it.
Yes, but noticing comes first. If you don't notice it, it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you do, you can't stop these thoughts from coming up, but you can say, oh, but I'm not going to act on that now. I'm just going to notice it's there.
Then I get a little bit shamed about I'm so bad I can't deal with this. And so there is judgment on myself. And
It's all the same thing. Judgment is not of the now. Judgment is comparison to what the mind thinks should be there. And the mind's crazy.
there is a fear of letting it go because then there is this abyss. That is so scary. It scared the shit out of me.
So where is this abyss?
Yeah. Where is the fear? From where does it come? If I accept it, then it just take over. So that's why there is some fighting against it.
It already has taken over. You've been letting it take over, empowering it all your life. As they say, the horse is already out of the barn. The thought of the mind always is dual. There's good and there's bad. Only the good is of God, the bad is not. And of course, where do you fit in? The you think of as you're on the bad side.
I am.
Always trying to be good.
I
God,
wanna
notice
be.
how good I'm being, notice how good. But you believe that you're bad. So what? Punishment? Sickness? Guilt? Fear? All these punishments that come to me because I'm bad? But I'm trying to be good. Tell me what I should learn here, God. I'll try to be good. And all we're saying is there's no good or bad here. Whatever God brings is from God. There's no good gifts from bad God and bad gifts from God. It's all divine. The mind says, where's the love? The truth says, it's all love. It's all there is. The mind says, how can I feel love? The truth says, you are love. But the mind that sees a you as real separate from God, then sees you as not love. Because God is love and you're separate from God, so therefore you're not love.
Damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Loved if you do and loved if you don't.
That's. I think I choose that. Is it possible to choose that? Who is choosing?
You are choosing damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because as long as it's you choosing, you're choosing separate from God. So no matter what you choose, you're choosing separation. But the truth is not real. You're not separate. And the pain is just on the screen. It's not real. The part of you that believes that there's a separate you also believes that pain is probably a good thing because if you suffer enough, God will take you home. And if you stop suffering, then you're lost in hell forever.
It's a lot of confusing.
It's only the mind that creates confusion. There is no confusion. It's very, very simple. Whatever's here is from God and His love. If you want to resist and fight it, that's when it gets confusing. If you simply say, oh, it's what is, how crazy would it be to try to change what is? It already is.
This content is the creative work of Channels Without Borders, all rights reserved 2025. Visit channelswithoutborders.com. Feel free to share this with friends. More information and links are in the description. If this touched your heart, subscribe and receive more light.